What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ Buck with you. Buck, what is going on? How you doing, man?
Nothing. DJ is here. I mean, the weekend is here. We're ready. We're ready to watch all these games. To get excited about who is going to jump out the gate. We've talked about it throughout the summer. How the Kansas City Chiefs have really been a team that has jumped out and it's really positioned them well to make runs at Super Bowls over the last 5 years. Which teams are going to start out fast? Because if you get to the quarter pole 3-1, 4-0, it really sets you up not only to make the playoffs, but to get one of the top seeds in the conference.
Yeah, this is the episode today. This is what we're doing. We are looking at week one. So we're going to go through every game in week one. I am so fired up. Where you at, Miami? Is that where the Jags are this week, right?
Yeah, Jags down in Miami to be a hot one. You're dealing with a fast team, a team that operates like a track team. So very, very quickly, the Jaguars get a true assessment of who they are and what they are in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm gonna be home for the Chargers taking on the Raiders, division rivals. Think about that was really the end of the previous regime. Was that Thursday night game in Vegas where the Chargers got the doors blown off by the Raiders. The Raiders finished up strong last year in Antonio Pierce. He gets hired on full time. The Jim Harbaugh era is kicked off. So we're going to get into those two games in a little bit. But this is what we're doing. We're going to find one storyline. Our favorite storyline as scouts that we're looking forward to seeing in every single game. And we're going to start off, first of all, we've got a Thursday and a Friday this week, which is awesome. Again, doesn't get any better. Ravens, Chiefs, right out the chute. Buck, what are you looking forward to in that game?
Look at the battle of the MVPs. And I'm looking to see how Lamar Jackson handles the challenge of dealing with the Kansas City Chiefs. 1-4 in his career against the Kansas City Chiefs. Pat Mahomes and company have really owned the Baltimore Ravens. And the Baltimore Ravens have the challenge of breaking a new defensive coordinator while dealing with the guy who knows how to get it done at the highest level and Pat Mahomes. That puts a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson to not only match what Pat Mahomes does, but I think he has to outplay Pat Mahomes. And when I look at this Ravens offense and I look at how they're constructed, I don't know if they're constructed for Lamar Jackson to get into a shootout with Pat Mahomes. So a lot of pressure on number 8, but even more pressure on maybe defensive coordinator Zach Ward to keep the score down so Lamar Jackson can do his thing on offense.
I'm looking forward to two things in this game. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to give you two. I'm going to say air yards for the Chiefs. This was an offense that didn't look familiar last year. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was throwing underneath more than any other quarterback in the NFL. I mean, it was just get the ball out of your hands. They're going to play with too high looks and try and take away explosives. We don't really have the explosive weapons that we're accustomed to. So they played small ball. And I think they've done some things in the offseason to add some explosive, dynamic players. Can they push the ball down the field a little bit more than they did last year? So that's one thing on the Chiefs side of things. I'm not worried about their defense. The defense is going to be outstanding. For the Ravens, Buck, we said this early on in when we were doing these roster previews over the summer, and I believe I think Eric DeCosta mentioned this the other day. Someone with the Ravens, I think it was Eric, said he thought they could be the best 12 personnel team in the league. And that's something that we advocated for. I said, look, you get your best guys out there, and that includes Isaiah Likely to go along with Mark Andrews. How do they creatively use those guys? Think about what that offense looked like early for Lamar Jackson when he came into the league. They had tight ends, and they could go with a lot of different packages because of that room. I think their tight end room is going to be what kind of drives this offense. So I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah, it's a tough group to match up with. Isaiah Likely has star potential. You put him and Mark Andrews on the field, you are able to balance it up. You're able to kind of, I would say, tilt the coverage at a few different ways in terms of being able to go that tight end wing formation or some of the other things that you can do. But it should be a set that the Baltimore Ravens live out of. And so when you think about that combination and adding Derrick Henry behind them, it's a unique offense that you have to defend. But a lot of it will be predicated on how number 8 plays.
No question. Friday, Packers, Eagles. What's your favorite thing for that game?
Which version of the Eagles will show up? And the reason why I say which version is because this team is loaded. This team is super talented. We've seen this team play at a high level. In fact, last year they jumped out to a 10-1 start before falling apart. I feel like they upgraded both areas at offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore coming over to, I would say, completely overhaul the way that they were doing things offensively. Then defensively, Vic Fangio adding some sage wisdom to that side of the ball. I just want to see how it all meshes and marries with Nick Sirianni's approach, because if they kind of play to their talent, man, this team should be one of the heavyweights in the league.
It's weird to say you need buy-in from the fans, but that's one of those kind of different fan bases, different cities, different temperature there. So in other words, you say, you got to have some success early, get buy-in from the players. And like, I think the players they've been in that division. They've seen what Kellen Moore run offenses have done to them. So they know how good he is. And I think everybody in the building knows how good Kellen is. But I think it'll be good for the fan base to just go out there, have a good showing. Like, okay, this fits, this works, this is going to cure some of our ills here. I would say the thing I'm looking forward to on the other side is the Packers. Does a pecking order emerge from the wideouts? They've got all these young wideouts, and they're very talented, and they've spread the ball around. But eventually, Buck, I'm a believer that eventually there's an alpha that emerges. You know, it's nice to say, oh, we've got 4 or 5 number ones. We've got all these different guys we can spread the ball around to, and it's a communist passing game, right? Everybody's treated equally here. But I believe that eventually somebody emerges out of that pack. Who's that going to be? I'm curious to see who that is.
Yeah, no, it's funny. And it's not only who emerges as the number one receiver. I'm curious to see if Jordan Love can pick up where he left off. A lot of the enthusiasm and optimism around Jordan Love is due to, I would say, a stretch from week 11 through the wild card round where he was sensational. 18 touchdowns, only 1 interception, really put the team on his back. But you know how it is, DJ. To go from good to great in this league is about consistent high-level performance. Can he deliver those things? Because if he can, then Green Bay Packers kind of creep into that conversation as a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I think they're right there. They're right on the doorstep of being in that conversation. How about the symmetry here? I didn't even think about this, but Steelers Falcons. Look at Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins. They're in the same draft, drafted in a similar location in the draft. You had both coming out of the Big Ten. They're both on their third team. They're both trying to win over new teammates while there's another quarterback in the building that at least some in the fan base are excited to see. There's a lot of symmetry there between the Steelers and the Falcons.
Yeah, 100%. There are a lot of people that are excited to see QB2s as opposed to QB1. But for both teams, it may be in their best interest to hope that QB1 gets off to a fast start because a lot of their Super Bowl hopes hinge on their performances. I'm going to take the Steelers side when I look at it, and Russell Wilson. What's interesting is Russell Wilson being named captain. Despite the quarterback battle, despite the competition that they were supposedly having, the Steelers thought enough of Russell Wilson to name him the captain. And so having the C on his chest, being able to lead this team, I'm still a believer that this is really important for Russell, not only to continue his career, but to maybe cement his legacy as one of the best players to play the game at that position. Because if he wins in Pittsburgh and has enough success, it then opens the door for him to maybe get back to that gold jacket status that he appeared to be trending towards when he's with the Seattle Seahawks in his prime.
Yeah, that C on his uniform, Buck, stands for cushion. Because if you thought there was going to be a quick hook, when you throw the C on your chest, that means we're going to give him a little time to get adjusted and figure this thing out. That's what that tells me. If it was really neck and neck and it was a last second, Russ won that job by a nose, I don't think you name him the captain thinking that there could be a hook coming soon.
No, I don't think there's any way because you really kind of compromise his leadership potential if you have a quick hook with him. For Russell, I think this is a situation where you want to give him every opportunity to kind of play his way into being the franchise quarterback that you thought you were getting when you brought him over from the Denver Broncos. I still believe he's a good player. I think this offense is not going to be what many expect. They want to see it fly all over the yard. I think Russell being inserted at quarterback is about helping this team play winning football from a managerial standpoint, not from a playmaking perspective. Hopefully he still can give you that in the fourth quarter, but it still should be defense, running game, timely playmaking. If all those things line up, it should be W's for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Man, let's free Bijan. Let's get Bijan going here if you're the Atlanta Falcons. and that means all areas of the field. That means the passing game, everything. Utilize him. Cardinals Bills. I'll run first here. And look, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to keep this at the quarterbacks. I'm really looking forward to seeing both these guys. I'm looking forward to seeing Josh Allen, a Stephon Diggs-less offense. What does that look like? I think you'll see Josh Allen. He'll elevate. I think he will. I think he'll elevate. And he'll elevate those around him. Excited to see what he looks like. And then I'm fired up to see Kyler Murray not only back out there on the field healthy, like back to the explosive, dynamic Kyler Murray to go along with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think this Cardinals team's a fun team, man. I think I might even have picked the Cardinals in the upset in this game. I'm curious to see this team. I think they're going to be fun, man.
They have a lot of potential, and there should be a lot of excitement about this team. Remember, Kyler Murray, most of the time when people have ACL injuries, it takes that second year before they return back to normal. We should see the version of Kyler Murray that we saw early in his career. If he is that player, and you think about Marvin Harrison Jr., Mike Wilson, what they have on the perimeter, this offense could surprise. And defensively, Jonathan Gannon has just done a really good job of getting this team to play hard. You expect them to take more steps with more pieces on their front line.
Titans, Bears.
I mean, it's all about the Caleb Williams show, right? Like, how do you get the young quarterback up and going? How are you able to balance wanting to kind of show off your talented QB1 while also playing the game the right way to put yourself in a position to win behind a defense that should be pretty good? Just see if Caleb Williams can kind of settle in as a managerial type. We know the playmaking ability is there, but the guys that win games in this league are the ones that really excel at the boring stuff. Can Caleb Williams become boring and managerial in his approach as opposed to being the gunslinger / playmaker that he's always been?
And I'll just say, look, Jeffrey Simmons, a dynamic player. That is a weak spot of the Bears' interior offensive line. He's capable of wrecking shop. He's a one-man band over there, and he can disrupt things a little bit. So that would be the key, I think, to keep an eye on that one. Patriots, Bengals. Let's see what happens as we're recording this. We don't have the final answer on Jamar Chase. Maybe that's changed by the time you're listening to this, but that's a very big storyline. And then the Patriots. I mean, how long are you going to be able to keep Drake May on the sideline? Jacoby Brissett, here's your opening act.
Yeah, I mean, so many storylines in this one. The Jamar Chase one is interesting. I've never seen a hold in or whatever this is with 2 years remaining on the deal. This is one where he doesn't have any leverage. The fact that the Bengals are even entertaining contract extensions with him not participating in practice, to me, is baffling. If they have to play without him, it puts a lot of pressure on Jermaine Burton to be ready to go as a day one playmaker. Not a day one starter, but a day one playmaker that you count on. T. Higgins is really good. I don't know if he can hold down the fort by himself. He's going to need a compliment. So that, to me, puts Jermaine Burton in a situation where he could wear the big sombrero going into the game.
Texans, Colts, Buck.
I mean, look, we've heard so much about it. To me, it's the battle of the young quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud versus Anthony Richardson. All the things that we talk about Stroud is next level stuff. Can he be a top 5 player? Can he be the next guy to challenge Pat Mahomes to be the face of the league as QB1? On the other side, though, Anthony Richardson, I mean, the hype bunny, 4 games he played. But yet the expectation is that he could be someone that emerges as a dark horse MVP candidate. That is a lot on a second-year player. It's a lot on a second-year coach and Shane Steichen to make all of this happen with a limited amount of experience that you have before building this offense around him.
2 guys. Tank Dell, I think he's got superstar potential. What does he look like here? Back healthy. He was awesome last year when he was out there with Stroud. And then Latu, your favorite player in the draft last year. So I stole some of your thunder there from the Colts. Edge rusher from UCLA. Not an easy tackle to go up against in that one. So we'll see how he looks in his NFL debut. Your game, Jags, Dolphins, Buck.
How did the Jaguars deal with the speed of Miami? We can talk about the creativity and all those things, but ultimately it comes down to matchups and dudes versus dudes. When I look at the Dolphins offense, man, they have some dudes, some doozies. The Jaguars get a break because OBJ won't be cleared and available to play. He's out those first 4 games, but Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Wright, Devin A-Chain. You talk about a track meet that is going to test your explosiveness from top to bottom and the roster construction. Tough matchup for the Jags right out the gate.
I'm looking at your Jags edge rushers to see what that looks like. To me, Walker, can he take the next step? All the ability in the world. I thought you saw him got better last year. Does he continue to move forward there? Look, Josh, is it Josh Hines Allen or Josh Allen Hines? I got to get that straight now.
Hines Allen, Josh Hines Allen.
Hines Allen. Okay. Josh Hines Allen. Again, those two pairing up, what does that look like? That has the potential to be a really, really good pairing as those guys continue to learn and grow as young, very, very talented players. Buck, if you're young and you wore something, you wore something new and you went to a party or get together and you got a lot of compliments. Maybe it's a new jacket, a new shirt, new hat. Got a lot of compliments. You know what you like to do is you like to say, the next one I go to, I got to have something else new because I like those compliments. Remember last year, the first 4 games, all we talked about was the new motion that they were using with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Mike McDaniel's got a new motion. I don't have any intel on that. I just feel like he got so much love and praise for the creativity and bringing something new.
Got to go
back.
back.
Come with something new. Like, what do we got here? And you might be the guinea pig here with the Jags to see what he's going to dust off that he hasn't shown at all in the preseason. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of creative wizardry he throws our way here in that ball game. Panthers Saints.
This is, man, DJ, this is one where you want to see if Bryce Young can bounce back. I want to see what Drew Canales can do to get Bryce Young to play really well. Drew Canales got a lot of credit for the work that he did with Baker Mayfield. His first season as an offensive coordinator, people give him credit for helping clear the clutter in Geno Smith's brain when he had that breakout season up in Seattle and Canales was the quarterback coach. How does he unlock the talents of Bryce Young? Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick. There's expectations that come along with that. How quickly can Dave Canales get Bryce Young to play at the level that many expect when you're number 1 overall?
Yeah, I just would say ditto. I think that is the number 1 storyline in that game. And I don't want to put too much on week 1, but man, it's just got to be better. It's got to look better than it did last year. Provide a little bit of hope for that organization. And, if not, that would be really, really demoralizing. So whatever you've got, don't save anything. Unload the bucket here in the first game. Whatever you got to do to pump some confidence into not only Bryce, but into this team and into this city that desperately needs it. All right, let's take a quick break. We come back. We'll run through the rest of these games right after this. Vikings Giants, kind of a sneaky, interesting game, Buck.
Yeah, sneaky interesting because to me, this is Sam Darnold 3.0. This is the chance that everyone has been, if you're a Sam Darnold fan, you've been waiting for him to link up with an offensive mind as creative and as aggressive as Kevin O'Connell. Now that we are here, how does Kevin O'Connell get Sam Darnold going? The weapons on the perimeter are outstanding. Probably the best set of playmakers that he has on the perimeter. You think about that. You think about what they can do with Aaron Jones. The offensive line is solid. To me, this should be a chance for us to finally see Sam Darnold for who he is and who he can be at this level. So I'm excited to see his debut.
Now, a lot of unproven pass rush for the Vikings, especially Danielle Hunter's gone, right? Let's see what the pass rush looks like. It would seem to be a favorable, at least if you're working off the right side of the Giants line, a favorable matchup that way to kind of get loose. So I think the line of scrimmage will be fascinating to watch there. And then I'm curious to see how much they use Daniel Jones as a runner. How much is that going to be a part for a team that lost Saquon? How much is his legs going to help make up for some of that? Raiders, Chargers. I'll be on the call for that one on the Chargers radio with our buddy Matt Money Smith. From the Chargers perspective, I was telling Money this the other day. This is my 7th year doing their games. This will be the least I feel like I know about the team coming into the game, which makes for a fun setup. I want to see what does the running back share look like? J.K. Dobbins, Big Gus Edwards. Who's going to get the lion's share of the carries? How much are they truly going to run the ball? I mean, everybody's talking about Harbaugh line of scrimmage. Well, he hasn't had Justin Herbert before, so. What does that look like? And then defensively, very creative there with Jesse Minter. I like everything that I've seen from him and his reputation. The Raiders, I think this defense is a top 5 defense in the NFL. And now you put Christian Wilkins next to Max Crosby. Watch out. So that's going to be a great, great challenge up front for the Chargers. And then on the other side, Minshew, is it going to be helter-skelter, wild, crazy, fun, business in front, party in the back, haircut, Gardner Minshew, or are we going to say we got a really good defense Let's not turn the ball over. Let's not be stupid. If we got to keep the score down, we got to keep the score down. But I'm anxious to see if they tame that tiger with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. So for me, when it comes to the Raiders, is let's not talk about it. Let's be about it. There's been a lot of conversation that has come out from the Raiders side about wanting to do it, why they went with AP, how they were going to get this team together, the things that he was doing. He has centers of influence that you can't even question. You can't question what Tom Coughlin has done in the league. You can't question really what Marvin Lewis has done. So those guys have influenced him in terms of as a leader. But now, full season on the job, what does this team look like and how do they perform? And how do they perform in a game where the other team wants to measure revenge and redemption for how they play? Because basically AP got the staff fired. Brandon Staley and company were all ushered out after that disappointing performance on Thursday night. I don't care what happens. The players that were holdovers, they remember that. So there's going to be a lot of emotion coming from the Chargers sideline. How do the Raiders handle that? And how does AP get his team ready to play?
Yeah, be interested to see too. If Bosa, is he wearing a club? Is he not wearing a club? There was talk that he would have a club on. Then video of him the other day at practice with no club. So that'll be something definitely to pay attention to. Broncos, Seahawks, Buck.
Oh, the Bo Nix experience. Sean Payton handpicked Bo Nix to be the quarterback of the future. And when you're Sean Payton and you're the quarterback whisperer / guru, and people are maybe questioning why you went with him, man, it's time to show and prove. Bo Nix was spectacular during the preseason, complete almost 80% of his passes. You want to see a continuation of that while knowing that they're going to do some different things in their base and nickel offensive packages to allow the young quarterback to settle in. But now this to me is about Bo Nix and Sean Payton being able to show off how good his young quarterback is.
I'll go to the Seahawks side of things. Ryan Grubb comes in as the new offensive coordinator. Kenneth Walker is ready for liftoff, man. I think he's going to have a monster year. And someone who can not only, to me, it's hard to find the guys that can bang and then hit home runs. Like he is someone who can grind out tough yards. He can land those body blows, finish runs, but then also has the breakaway speed to hit some home runs. So I think he's due to bust out, have a monster year for the Seahawks. Bo Nix, obviously the headliner there in that one, though. Cowboys at Browns, the Tom Brady game. What are you looking for here?
Man, Cowboys at Browns. Deshaun who? Deshaun what? I want to know which version of Deshaun Watson is going to show up. It's been 3 years since we've seen the Deshaun Watson that played at a Pro Bowl level. Will that player ever return to the dog pound? We can talk about the money, and the money has always been paid. He got his contract kind of ripped up and adjusted, so he got a bunch of cash that hit the account a few weeks ago. Now, if you're in Cleveland, you want to see, is the Pro Bowl player, the one that we thought was going to save the franchise, is he ever going to show up this week against the Cowboys? We get a chance to see if he ever can get back to the level that he once played at.
Yeah, and I'll go to the Cowboys side of things. How much is rhythm disrupted just with CeeDee Lamb missing as much time as he has? I think you see a motivated Dak. I'm anxious to see some of these young offensive linemen get their opportunities. What does that look like? Lots to keep an eye on there on the Cowboys side of things. I think defensively they'll be just fine. But that'll be a heavyweight matchup there. Two really talented rosters there with the Cowboys and the Browns. Commanders and Bucks.
Like we talk about all the young quarterbacks. We can talk about Jaden Daniels and those things. But to me, DJ, it's Dan Quinn. And the reason why is because a lot of coaches never get an opportunity to do the second time around. And so for Dan Quinn, what did he learn from his experience in Atlanta? What did he learn during his time as a defensive coordinator with the Cowboys before he jumps back in for a second head coaching job? How do you turn those losses into lessons? I want to see how he applies them and see if he can make the Washington franchise a really strong franchise because of all that experience that he's gone through.
I'm going to tell you, if you're a Commanders fan, I guarantee you this is your thought coming into this game. Jaden Daniels, I don't even think you're really nervous about how he's going to handle the moment. He's got a lot of football in his background, even though he's a rookie. But Buck, you look at it on paper, and especially the Bucks have some D linemen they can throw at you. I look at that offensive line. I mean, I might just cross all the fingers, Buck. I might just cross them all right here. Say, please keep this franchise quarterbacks. Let him survive out here, and let's put a game plan together that protects him. with the play call as much as the players in front of him, because I have some serious doubts about the guys in front of him, whether they can keep him safe. So we're going to move the launch point a little bit. Don't let the Tampa Bay Bucks get a beat on where he's going to set up, because this is, again, it's not Adam Peters' fault at this point in time. They're very early in roster construction. They've solved some problems. They brought in a lot of vets, a lot of leaders, got the culture where they want to get it, but offensive line wise, they're ways away. So to me, that's going to be something I'm keeping an eye on. Can they just keep him out there?
Yeah, no, can they keep him out there? Can they do it? What does Todd Bowles do for the young player? All of those things really, really matter. There are a lot of people I feel like are sleeping on this Tampa team.
Nobody talks about him.
Nobody talks about Baker Mayfield.
I've got friends in that organization to the point where I'm waiting to get some text messages of hey, I know they'll probably come. If they blow the doors off the Commanders, I'll be getting text messages from those buddies saying, you guys haven't talked about us the whole offseason.
Yeah, no, it's going to be some of that. And we know it. There's going to be a lot of conversation that comes out of there. No one believed in this. No one picked this. Be careful, DJ, when you're picking those picks. Be careful the graphic.
Oh, dude, I get hit a lot. There's a lot of screen grabs that go along there with that. Rams and Lions, what a great rematch.
Yeah, it's the rematch that I think everyone has been talking about. For me, it's about the Rams continue to go with this young player premise where they are developing young players. They're putting them on the field, and they have a few holdovers, a few veterans, but this is a young team that Sean McVay handpicked to develop and put out there. So what do these guys look like against a team that, I'll say this, some people are predicting the Lions are going to the Super Bowl? How do you handle yourself in I would say a measuring stick game? How do the Rams measure up to the Lions as we're looking at their talent compared to a team that should be a heavyweight in the NFC?
Got a Lions team that needed to fix the secondary. They were aggressive in addressing it, free agency and the draft. Well, here's your first test. And Matthew Stafford coming back into the building with a healthy Cooper Kupp, with Puka Nacua, with a talented group of skill guys around him, and arguably the best play caller in the NFL. So let's see what that secondary looks like. Excited to see that matchup. I think it's an awesome game. Last one here. Let's get to the Monday nighter. Just give us Aaron Rodgers for a full game. That's the first thing I'm looking at here. Jets at 49ers. That is my wish as he goes back to the Bay Area. You know that's going to be a special one for him. But, man, I just hope – let's just keep him out there. I want to see – I'm curious. I don't know what that's going to look like, but we need him to stay out there because I want to – it's going to be must-see TV.
It's going to be must-see TV. There's been a lot of drama that has really taken place on that side of the ball, on that side. You know, we're seeing so many conversations about who's in, who's out. How's he doing it? Will he be ready? Will he be ready for the whole thing? I want to go on the other side because I feel like it's been a bit of a three-ring circus with the San Francisco 49ers. Players wanting contracts. Every marquee player that they had basically had their hand out after they went to the Super Bowl. Hey, give me my money. So CMC, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, all those guys, now that you get them done within the week of the first game, how do you fold them into it? How do you keep the culture right? How do you keep the team right? I don't know if it's just as easy as hey, everybody go back to your normal spots. They haven't been around. So repairing those relationships and making sure the chemistry right, tough job for Kyle Shanahan.
Yep. That's going to be a fascinating game, though, man. Jets, 49ers. What an awesome weekend of football, plus a bunch of college football sprinkled in there. It's going to be a great weekend starting Thursday night. We get the Chiefs. We get the Ravens. I am so pumped, man. Cannot wait for this awesome weekend of football ahead. Anything else you want to add before we duck out of here, Buck?
No, man. First week, I would say this. Everyone pump the brakes. Don't overreact one way or the other.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
Something happens the first week.
That's a lost cause.
It's a trend. Just slow down. Be patient. Don't get too high or too low. I hate for you to run out of gas before we get to week 18.
Yeah, it's a PSA that's not going to be heard. I can tell you that much. All right. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Again, we've got one more episode coming your way this week. We will also have five episodes starting next week. Each and every day you got your Move the Sticks fill. So appreciate you guys hanging. We'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.